Japanese McDonald's just released a family ad, and Twitter is melting down. There is never a shortage of stupidity on the internet, but this latest debate is melting even my brain cells. In the age of Twitter, there is never a shortage of crazy people. However, sometimes it feels like people might be evolving backward. I do not know if this has always existed or if the internet has created them, but sometimes I wonder how we got to this point. Without further delay, let me explain the latest internet meltdown to you. A couple of days ago, McDonald's released an ad depicting a mother, father, and daughter. That is it, the entire controversy. Within 3 days, the post has blown up, accumulating over 100 million views online. The comment section for this ad is a complete nightmare. People were upset because they thought the mother looked too young. Others were upset because the daughter looked similar to the mother, clearly not understanding genetics. Some took offense to the fact that they depicted a white family, although I think they might be Asian as this is a Japanese ad. Another considerable debate centered around the fact that they did not depict a more inclusive LGBTQ family. All of the controversy started with American McDonald's. They released an ad about what the franchise is doing to support trans people and the rest of the LGBTQ community. Thus, when Japan released its ad depicting a straight family, all hell broke loose. Some were calling it a white supremacist ad because of the family. These tweets were getting thousands of views. Again, I would like to point out that I am 99% sure that this is an Asian family, considering that it is a Japanese ad. Before we continue with the crazy, the other side of the argument is at least worth mentioning. Although many crazy people are losing their minds over this family's depiction, I am aware that the opposite would also have happened. If they depicted a gay family with a child, all the people now defending this ad would have lost their minds instead. However, I am unsure if it would have been to this degree. Whether they depict a straight family or an LGBTQ family, at the end of the day, we need to understand that McDonald's is only interested in selling food. It is not worth losing your mind over these things either way. When American McDonald's creates pandering ads about how pro-LGBTQ they are only looking to profit. For this ad, the end goal is the same. It should not be such a divisive issue in both directions, but unfortunately, it is. Looking at the current discourse, you will pick up a common trend. If you look at the people currently defending this Japanese ad, they will be the same people who will call out McDonald's a few months from now when they inevitably do the opposite. However, I will admit that there are a lot more crazy people losing their minds over a normal Japanese family having dinner. I have never seen this level of insanity before in my life. All of this comes from people who usually say these things should not matter. However, it does. This ad is not pulverizing at all. At least in the opposite direction, you can still argue that they are intentionally trying to provoke the audience. A good example of this would be Bud Light. When Bud Light featured a trans woman, people also completely lost their minds. While I will not defend all of the hate that ad generated, I can at least admit that they were trying to stir up controversy. They intentionally chose a person who was extremely pulverizing and proceeded to poke at the audience, calling them terrible names. In such a case, you are asking for pushback. In this case, it is completely unprovoked. It is just a Japanese Asian family eating dinner. I do not see the connection to white supremacy here. They also did not make any type of political statement. When American McDonald's creates these ads depicting LGBTQ families, they usually follow it with a political statement. They create divisive messages that provoke outrage. As such, people push back, and it creates controversy. If Japanese McDonald's did the same, I would at least be able to understand some of the anger. If they created this ad and followed it up with, "We support straight traditional families," I can at least understand why some would be upset. However, none of that happened, and the ad went viral with hundreds and millions of views. As stated, people were calling this a white supremacist ad. I don't see the connection between an Asian-Japanese family eating dinner and white supremacy at all. It is also not a small group of people who felt this way. There were hundreds and thousands of people. While that is probably 1 or 2% of the people, it is still worrisome. I am not entirely sure how we got to this point. However, we might have to consider just deleting the internet. With all of that said, let's go over a few of the craziest takes I have seen regarding this non-issue. One person wrote, addressing their comment to the online right, "Cartoons aren't real. Being attracted to anime children has no bearing in my real life." Also, the online right, This cartoon ad is reflective of my real-world values and virtues, and I will defend it to the death. This is an insane take on many levels. Firstly, no one is defending this ad. They are simply mocking people like you. A Japanese family eating dinner is not right-wing. Another person on Twitter wrote, "The anime McDonald's ad touched the souls of thousands of losers simply because they are misanthropic and can only be in awe of human beauty if it is presented through a lens that is mostly removed from their reality so they don't have to develop compassion for their neighbors." Once again, people are not in awe of the ad. They are in awe of the stupidity this non-controversial ad has generated. Secondly, people will resonate with the ad because this is what most families look like. This is not their worldview, it is most people's worldview. If you have a different one, that is also fine, but you can't have a mental breakdown because this is the reality for most. If you have an LGBTQ family, that is also okay, but you have to allow the opposite to exist, which goes both ways. I can read out crazy Twitter comments all day, but I think the point has been proven. There is no reason for this ad to spark such controversy. Once again, I know this type of outrage goes both ways. Ultimately, no burger ad should cause this level of emotion. As stated earlier, I can understand if Japanese McDonald's added a political or social message to the ad stating that this is what a traditional family should look like, and if you disagree, it is because you are a racist who hates Asian people. In that case, there will be outrage. That is the reason why so many American LGBTQ ads get heated. They don't simply release an ad that features an LGBTQ family. Usually, they combine it with a divisive message where they call out other people who might disagree with them. Those type of ads is typically filled with strong social commentary where they go out of their way to state what they are doing and why you are wrong for not supporting them. If this ad was accompanied by such political or social messaging, then the hate would have been warranted. However, it was not. And thus, this entire situation is ridiculous.